And welcome to today's Sports Roundtable here on YHC and YHCtv.com, and even reaching out to some of our Facebook Live viewers out there, and appreciate you tuning in for today as we try to get more consistent with our broadcast. We've made quite a few upgrades here and just trying to get it all synced up, and we're all synced up today, finally, here for our live broadcast in studio. So glad you joined us. And it's getting to be a very interesting time as we're entering into a lot of conference play in high school basketball throughout the area. So it's going to be a fun time here in January and into February, as we had some good games last night, which we'll get to in a moment. But we'll be looking forward to bringing you more broadcasts throughout the year right here on YHCtv and YHCtv.com. And we're going to take a look at some of the games from last night, taking a look at the area. Dexter-Bernie, a 62-59 win for the Dexter Bearcats last night as they were victorious over the Bernie Mules. And a really good game, always a big game between these two schools, Dexter and Bernie. And taking a look at the games from, or the highlights from last night. And Dexter got out to a nice lead early on and pretty much hung on to it, but Bernie did make a nice run as we take a look at the highlights. Off the spin there as the Dexter Bearcats victorious over the Bernie Mules last night. And a really good game last night, as it always is between those two schools, Dexter and Bernie. And it always comes down to the end between those two. And Bernie having they've struggled over the last few years. They've really come on since the Christmas tournament, playing better. They played better on the last half of that Christmas tournament this year, and looking pretty good so far this year. They were right there in the game. They got the lead. I think it was early in the fourth quarter. They got the 1-point lead, and then Dexter went on an 11-0 run and put it away for the Bearcats last night in Bernie. And you can catch that replay later on today. You can catch that replay again today, and that'll be at noon and 6:30 here on Saturday, and then Sunday afternoon at 2. You can catch the replay of Dexter and Bernie. We'll have that uploaded late Saturday on YHCtv.com. And take a look at some other games from the area last night. Taking a look here, we got Malden and Bloomfield. Big game last night as the Malden Green Wave went up to Bloomfield, got a victory on the road. Impressive victory for the Green Wave last night as that game went into overtime. They got a 66-65 win as Chance Booker led the way for the Green Wave in scoring. And much needed win for the Green Wave. They've had a so-so year this year and got a big win over Bloomfield. Bloomfield's been playing very well. Bloomfield got a nice win over East Prairie, I think late last week or early in the week, either one. Been playing pretty good ball. Bloomfield Wildcats and the Malden got a nice victory up there last night on the road. And in other games, Woodland over Meadow Heights, 66-62. Woodland getting a victory over Meadow Heights last night. Woodland, a team there in the Stoddard County Conference to look after going forward as well. Poplar Bluff over Twin Rivers, 70-42. No problem for the Mules last night over the Royals. Portageville over South Pemiscot, 67-60. Nice win for the Portageville Bulldogs in that win last night in a Boudreaux Conference win over South Pemiscot. And Risco defeated Zenith Hornersville 62-42. Risco's had a nice week, 3 wins this week as the Risco Tigers victorious over Zenith Hornersville. And those are the games from last night. Speaking of Risco, we got some highlights of their game from earlier in the week as they took on Clarkton earlier this week. Take a look at the highlights from that game from Tuesday night. The Risco Tigers over the Clarkton Reindeer Tuesday night. And, a nice night for Risco. Got balanced scoring, got 20-plus points out of Morgan Ludwig, Nathan Burnett, and Drew Fortner. Had 3 scores with 20-plus in that game. Lee Matney had a big third quarter, ended up with 29 in the game. Emmanuel White with 23 in that game Tuesday night. And Emmanuel White got some foul trouble early in the second half. I think just a few minutes into the second half, he picked up his 4th foul. Didn't come into the game with about 2 or 2.5 minutes remaining in the game. But he came in, and they made a run late, just come up a bit short. But that Clarkton-Risco game, a lot like that Dexter-Bernie game, always close. Risco really bringing back a strong team this year. And we might see those teams later on in the season come conference tournament time there in the Tri-County Conference. So we'll be looking forward to that later on. And we're going to take our first break and be back with some storylines from this week, as well as the SCAA, Stoddard County Activity Association tournament brackets were released today for JV and varsity tournaments, and we'll be back with that coming up.
It's time to save 20% off at Harry Blackwell in Malden.
This 2016 Ford Taurus Limited. Take 20% off. You can buy it for $29,124.
Come join the Harry Blackwell family this Christmas season. And don't forget, we deliver.
For more than 75 years, the law firm of Crow, Reynolds, Shetley, McVeigh, and Shear, LLP, has served the legal needs of Southeast Missouri. Located at 308 First Street in Kennett, Crow, Reynolds, Shetley, McVeigh, and Shear, LLP is a full-service law firm providing representation in a wide range of areas, such as personal injury, workers' compensation, family law, criminal law, probate, business, and estate planning. For all your legal needs, call Crow, Reynolds, Shetley, McVeigh, and Shear, LLP at 573-888-4664.
At New Wave, we're proud to call the communities we serve our home. Our customers tell us having a local office is important to them. That's why we maintain dozens of local offices and employ over 500 skilled employees, all focused on delivering the best customer experience. We don't just connect communities, we connect to our communities, helping support the schools, organizations, and events that support all of us. Thank you for choosing New Wave Communications, your local provider of internet, TV, and phone.
And welcome back. Now taking a look at your storylines from last night and this week in the area, mainly with high school basketball, as that's what we're really hot into at this moment. Taking a look at the game last night, Dexter defeating Bernie in that SCAA showdown 62-59. Nice win there for the Dexter Bearcats last night as they move on. Looking forward to the Stoddard County tournament coming up in just a few weeks, and we've got the seeds for those coming up in just a moment. And also Malden defeating Bloomfield in overtime last night, and Chance Booker leading the way for the Malden Green Wave. And Chance Booker's a guy that's really come on the scene this year, looking really good, and he's played really good. They've got some other contributors as well: Michael McBride, Ned Lee, Tyler Ison. Got a pretty good little group there, and Chance Booker's really come on strong this year to round out that rotation for the Malden Green Wave so far this year. Bloomfield's looking really good. They've played very well in the conference so far this year. Just a little letdown last night, but they've had some impressive victories so far this year and a pretty strong Christmas tournament showing there in Bloomfield. And also last night, Portageville scoring a Boot Hill Conference win over South Pemiscot, getting a nice victory there. Ian Torrey with a big night, had a triple-double. I believe he had 15 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists to lead the way for the Portageville Bulldogs. And him and Fred Garman. Garman led the way for the Bulldogs, as I think Garman had 15 in the game. Also, Bub Lance had 15 in the game. And some strong performances there from Portageville last night there in that Boot Hill Conference matchup with South Pemiscot. And also taking a look at Risco getting a nice victory last night over Zenith Hornersville. And they had a nice week. They won 3 games this week, and they beat East Prairie Monday night, Clarkton, the game we broadcast Tuesday night, and last night against Zenith Hornersville. 3-0 this week. They've had a nice run. I think they took a loss to Oran last week, but other than that, they've been strong and looking really good this week, as they'll be probably the favored team in the Tri-County Conference this year, but Clarkton's right there in the mix, going to make it interesting as well. So we'll see how that plays out with the Risco Tigers moving forward. Had really nice performances from Morgan Ludwig this week. He had 20-plus in every game this week for Risco Tigers. I think he had 25 Monday night. I think another 23, 26 maybe Tuesday night, and had over 20 last night. Also, Nathan Burnett having a great year, coming off a great freshman campaign here as a sophomore this year. And Drew Fortner, senior for the Risco Tigers, pretty much the main upperclassman for the Tigers, having a strong week, had a big night. I think he had 23 in Tuesday night there against Clarkton. So really strong week for Drew Fortner as well. They got a nice little combo there with Fortner, Morgan Ludwig, and Burnett, but it's also some other contributors they're having as well. E.J. Myers is stepping up, playing well, hitting some shots from the outside for the Tigers, but got a strong little group there in Risco this year. So be looking forward to the Risco Tigers performing for the remainder of the year. And let's take a look at our broadcast schedule going forward here on YHC and take a look at the games we've got this week. We've got Hayti and Malden. Nice Boot Hill Conference matchup this Tuesday night, and we'll be live there from Malden Tuesday night for that broadcast. And then Friday night, we've only got 2 games this week. Sikeston at Kennett. A nice SEMO Conference matchup as Sikeston, one of the best teams in the state this year, and we'll visit the Kennett Indians this Friday night. They're in Kennett, so we'll be looking forward to bringing that to you this Friday night as well between Sikeston and Kennett. Then the following week we'll have Portageville at Malden. Looks like that's going to be on a Monday night. Tuesday night, Malden at New Madrid. Thursday night, girls game Sikeston at Dexter. And then Friday night, which will be all week, starting the 23rd, will be the Stoddard County Activity Association Tournament. That's the JV and varsity games at Bloomfield this year, and we'll bring you the final night from that at Bloomfield. 4 games, the third place and championship games for the varsity and JV tournaments. So we'll look forward to that. There on the 27th and the 28th there. Got a girls game, Incarnate Word versus Dexter. We don't have the time yet on that. That's over at the Charleston shootout. It's an all-day shootout over at Charleston, and it'll be the Incarnate Word and Dexter state championship game from 3 years ago here on YHC there on the 28th from Charleston. So busy week, and 2 weeks we'll have, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in 5 days there in 2 weeks here on YHC. So a lot to bring to you here on Channel 21. And the Stoddard County Activity Association tournaments have been released for JV and varsity. First, starting off with the junior varsity bracket. Bernie with the top seed got a big win last night over Dexter. I think they got a 3 or 4 point victory over Dexter last night, and that pretty much determined the top seed for the county, as Bernie's undefeated in conference play. They got a first round bye, and they'll take on the winner of Richland and Puxco, the 4 and 5 seeds. Dexter, the 2 seed, takes on 7-seeded Advance, and 3rd seeded Bloomfield will take on 6-seeded Woodland. And that's your junior varsity bracket for the Stoddard County Activities Association tournament, and that'll start the 23rd on Monday, all games at Bloomfield. And taking a look at the varsity bracket, Advance with the top seed. Advance with the top seed taking on 8-seeded Richland. 4th-seeded Bernie taking on 5th-seeded Bell City. 2nd-seeded Dexter taking on 7th-seeded Puxico. And 3rd-seeded Bloomfield will take on 6th-seeded Woodland. 6th-seeded Woodland takes on 3rd-seeded Bloomfield. We don't have it there in the graphic there, but Bloomfield is the 6th seed in the tournament, take on 3rd-seeded Bloomfield. So there's your varsity bracket. And it was going to come down to Advance and Dexter for that top 2 seeds. And Advance coming away with a top seed. They've had a great run this year. Went to the championship game of the Southeast Missouri Christmas tournament up at Cape Girardeau. Got big wins over Jackson in that tournament, and lost to Charleston in the championship. But probably that Jackson victory was the difference, probably, between Advance and Dexter for the top 2 seeds. Dexter losing to Jackson early in the season in a SEMO conference matchup here at Dexter. Advance defeating them in that tournament was probably the difference to get them ahead of Dexter in the top seed of the county tournament. So it's going to be a competitive tournament. Last year was probably the best Stoddard County tournament that we've had here on YHC since we've been around here. But this year is going to be competitive as well. You got Advance and Dexter, the top 2 seeds, but Bloomfield right there in the mix, going to be competitive as well. Even Bernie and Bell City. Bell City's been competitive this year as well, with Cole Nichols playing really well up there, and Bernie playing better since the Christmas tournament to now. So they can be right there in the mix and make it competitive as well. Woodland, the 6th seed. Woodland took Dexter to the wire in a matchup just last week that we had here on YHC, last Friday night, I believe it was. And then Dexter's homecoming game took a 3-pointer by Jason Jarrell at the buzzer to defeat Woodland. So Woodland's going to be right there in the mix in the Stoddard County as well. That'll probably be the game to see there on the first night, or second night, I think. It'll be Bloomfield and Woodland there in the first round. So we'll be looking forward to that going forward. And that'll be getting underway on the 23rd, all games at Bloomfield. And we're going to take another break, and we're going to come back and talk about some state rankings. Got quite a few teams in the state rankings here in Southeast Missouri for both boys and girls, and we'll be back with that coming up.
What is your emergency? Need assistance at County Road 61 and Highway 9. Help is on its way.
Clear! There's a better way to jumpstart your soil back to health. Apply Endzone to protect and increase nitrogen efficiency without killing bacteria. Apply Prevent to increase phosphorus availability and reduce fixation. Better yet, use them both to get more from your fertilizer investment and see higher potential yields. Ag Explorer, your prescription for healthy soil.
The JR Shoes going out of business sale continues. Over 250 pairs of men's work and casual boots by Double H, Ariat, Carolina, Muck, Justin, Red Wing, and Rockies up to 50% off. All children's and lady boots by John Deere, Ariat, Durango, and Justin are half price. 250 pairs of children's Nikes, Skechers, and New Balance 50 to 75% off. All men and women's athletic shoes are half price. And Kim Creations items save up to 75% off. Everything must go at JR Shoes in Malden. And welcome back. Now take a look at some state rankings for the state of Missouri for both boys and girls. And taking a look here first at boys Class 1. Boys Class 1 state rankings. Winston on top at number 1. They move up to number 1 after Walnut Grove. Now the second ranking moves down to number 2 after taking a loss this week with a record of 13-1. Glasgow at number 3, North Andrew 4. The Advance Hornets move up to number 5 this week at a record of 9-2. And Advance, they're in the top 5. Scott County Central trails them at number 6 with a record of 9-4 coming into this week. These don't reflect, the records don't reflect this week's games. Hermitage at 11-2 at number 7, 8 Bramer, 9 Jefferson, and 10 Leeton. So we got a couple teams there with Advance and Scott County Central in the top 10 in Class 1 this week. And in Class 2, Hartville at number 1, Thayer 2, 3 Stanberry, 4 Lincoln, 5 Marionville, 6 Newburgh, 7 Bismarck, 8 Wellington Napoleon, 9 Ellington, and 10 Knox County. And Hartville are the defending state champions in Class 2. And in Class 3, Cardinal Ritter at number 1, 2 Southern Boone, 3 Licking, 4 the Charleston Blue Jays. They're at the top 5, trailed just by Crothersville at number 5. 2 Southeast teams there with Charleston and Crothersville. 6 Summit Christian Academy, 7 Lamar, 8 Mountain Grove, 9 Saxony Lutheran, also a Southeast Missouri team, and 10 Monroe City. So Class 3 very competitive as it typically is here in Southeast Missouri. Charleston, Crothersville, and Saxony Lutheran there in the top 10. In Class 3. Now in Class 4, Sykeston on top at number 1. They have taken a few losses last week as they lost to Chaminade, the top-ranked team in Class 5, which we'll get to, and also McClure North. Lost to them as well. I think that may have been earlier this week. But 2 losses for Sykeston, but 2 of the better teams in the state there with Chaminade and McClure North. And Vashon, the defending state champions of Class 4 at number 2. 3, St. Mary's. 4, Jeff City Helias. 5, Farmington. The Farmington Knights up the way at number 5. 6, Jennings. 7, Parkway West. 8, Hillsboro. 9, Bolivar. And 10, St. Charles. Rounding out the Class 4 rankings for Missouri this week. And in Class 5, Chaminade there at number 1. 2, Lee Summit West. 3, St. Louis University High. 4, Webster Groves. 5, Kickapoo, 6, Nixa, 7, Park Hill, 8, Liberty, 9, Park Hill South, and 10, Republic. And moving on to the girls' rankings, starting off with girls Class 1, Walnut Grove at number 1, 2, North Mercer, 3, Leeton, 4, Jefferson, 5, Mound City, 6, Higbee, 7, Wheatland, 8, South Nottoway, 9, Norborn, and 10, southwest of Livingston County. In Class 2, Clopton at number 1, 2, Norwood, 3, Skyline, 4, Gainesville, 5, New Franklin, 6, Thayer out west, they're at number 6, 7, Purdy, 8, Spokane, 9, Scotland County Central, and 10, Mid-Buchanan. It's not Scott County Central, Scotland County Central, they're at number 9, and Mid-Buchanan at number 10. And girls Class 3, Stratford at number 1, 2, Southern Boone, 3, St. James, 4, Father Tolton Catholic, 5, Park Hill Central, 6, Monroe City, 7, Trenton, 8, Whitfield, 9, California, and 10, Licking. Park Hill Central up the way there in Class 3 rankings this week. Class 4, Carl Junction at number 1, 2, Incarnate Word, 3, Chillicothe, 4, Country Day, 5, Parkway North, 6, Pacific, 7, Logan Rogersville, 8, Benton of St. Joseph, 9, Osage, and 10, St. Francis Borgia. And in Class 5, Jefferson City at number 1, 2, Hickman, 3, Kirkwood, 4, Rockbridge, 5, Washington, 6, Blue Springs South, 7, Lee Summit North, 8, Kickapoo, 9, Jackson. The Jackson Lady Indians up north. They're in the top 10. They were up around number 6, I believe, earlier. I think they took a loss this last week. Moved down to number 9 and 10, Waynesville. So those are your Class 5 state rankings for girls basketball in the state of Missouri. So we got quite a few teams in the area there in the state rankings this week, and just means we've got a lot of competitive basketball here down this way I tell you, Class 3 is going to be fun to watch. You've got Charleston and Crothersville going to be in the same district, I believe, this year. Going to be battling out. Saxony Lutheran is going to be right there in the mix as well in the northern district. So it's going to be fun to watch, especially that Class 3. Class 1 is going to be fun to watch this year. You got Advance and Scott County Central in Class 1. Also Risco. Risco is right there in the mix as well. Risco and Scott County Central share the same district in Class 1, District 1. Advance in the neighboring District 2 in Class 1. So one of those three teams will likely get out of Southeast Missouri after the sectional round, I would assume, going into the quarterfinals in the Class 1 state tournament later on this season. So it's going to be fun to watch. Those Class 1, Class 3, even Class 2 is going to be fun to watch as well. So as it always is here in Southeast Missouri in the Boot Hill, seeing who comes out on top of those district tournaments later on. And we're going to take our last break and come back with a little preview of the NFL football playoffs starting today, this weekend, and also a look at some college basketball games this weekend as well. We'll be back with that coming up.
When you connect with high-speed internet from New Wave Communications, you unlock all kinds of possibilities. More gaming, more streaming and viewing, more ways to keep in touch, more ways to learn. And best of all, adding New Wave internet to your current television package won't cost a lot more thanks to New Wave's bundle discounts. In fact, if you're paying another provider for internet, switching to New Wave will probably save you money. Call or go to newwavecom.com to find more ways to bundle and save.
For the best one-stop grocery and gas stop, it's Bill's Market in Puxico. They've got a full-service deli as well as a great selection of meats, including ribeyes, T-bones, pork steaks, chicken, ham, sausage, and hamburger meat. Bill's Market is well known for their meats, and they'll keep you coming back. They carry fresh fruit and vegetables and your everyday grocery needs, such as snacks, sodas, and a deep frozen section, where the staff is friendly and you'll always see a friendly face. That's Bill's Market on Highway 51 in Puxico.
And welcome back. Now taking a look at your football playoffs taking place today in the NFL. Taking a look at those games here on Saturday. The Seahawks and the Falcons this afternoon. 3:35 start on Fox. And later on tonight, the Texans at the Patriots with a 7:15 start on CBS. And Seahawks, they are the number 3 seed. They are the number 3 seed taking on the second seeded Falcons. And that's going to be a big defense versus offense matchup. The Falcons, the top offense in the league, versus the Seahawks, one of the best defenses, well-known Legion of Boom defense. And that'll be a good one. That was one of the best playoff games ever back in 2012 between these two teams in the divisional round. And we might see the same once again today. We'll see how it plays out in Atlanta later on this afternoon. The Texans and the Patriots, that's the 4th seeded Texans taking on the top seeded Patriots in the AFC, and Patriots heavy favorites in that one. I think they're 15 or 16-point favorites in that game, and probably not too much to expect there other than a Patriots victory. But the Texans could make it interesting. Brock Osweiler and the Texans really got owned in the earlier game, and I think it was the second or third week. I think it was actually the third week of the season. Got shut out 27-0 against the Patriots when Tom Brady wasn't even in the lineup. Jacoby Brissett, the third-string quarterback, came in, and they still shut out Texans 27-0. Sunday's games in the afternoon, the Packers take on the Cowboys, and that'll be a big matchup there. That's probably the game of the weekend. as the Packers red hot. 6 straight wins to wrap up the regular season, winning their division. Got a big win over the Giants last weekend in the wild card round, and take on the top-seeded Cowboys in the NFC. That'll be a 3:40 start Sunday afternoon on Fox. And the Steelers will take on the Chiefs Sunday night on NBC at 7:20. And that's the 3rd-seeded Steelers taking on the 2nd-seeded Chiefs in Kansas City. So big matchups this weekend, and it's the divisional round, not the wild card round as it shows up top there. The divisional round. So pretty much known as the best weekend in football is this weekend, the divisional round. 4 games across the weekend. All big games will be determining the conference championships next week in the AFC and NFC conferences. So I'll be looking forward to seeing how that plays out later on today. And taking a look at college basketball games taking place today. 19th ranked Virginia at Clemson in the ACC. 7th ranked Duke at 14th ranked Louisville in the ACC. 3rd-seeded Villanova at St. John's in the Big East. 16th Xavier at 12th ranked Butler, also in the Big East. Oklahoma State at 2nd ranked Kansas in the Big 12. 9th ranked Florida State at 11th ranked North Carolina in the ACC. 10th West Virginia at Texas in the Big 12. Auburn at 6th ranked Kentucky in the SEC. And top ranked Baylor at 25th ranked Kansas State in the Big 12. Top ranked Baylor already lost this week to West Virginia, so they're likely to lose that top ranking for next week. And 2nd ranked Kansas probably likely to step in there at number 1 if they can get a win over Oklahoma State later on today at home. And the local colleges, universities here, SEMO taking on UT Martin and the OVC Conference, and ASU taking on Arkansas Little Rock in the Sun Belt Conference. And those are some college basketball matchups taking place today. And those are your matchups today. And college basketball going to get more attention now as we've ended the college football season finally, as the Clemson Tigers defeated the top-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide in a rematch of their game last year, and it was a big one, and it was a good one as well. Come down to the very end with a touchdown by the Clemson Tigers to win the game. So it's always big when it comes down to the very last play, and as it certainly did, between the Clemson Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide. So they split the last few national championships, and we'll see what's in store for next year in college football. And right now, the NFL playoffs dominating. We'll see how that plays out today, and should be interesting how it plays out getting ready for the conference championships next week. All the other news, we didn't get to our headlines from this week. Sikeston standout Fred Thatch has verbally committed to St. Louis University. He's only a junior. He's been one of the best players in the state. Actually, probably the past few years, he's been one of the best players in the state as a junior. This week, he announced he verbally committed to the St. Louis University Billikens for his college campaign, which will have to wait a couple more years before he even goes to college, but verbally commits to the Billikens of St. Louis University earlier this week. And that'll pretty much wrap up our roundtable for today. And glad you joined us for the roundtable this week, as we'll be getting back into our regularly scheduled broadcast with the roundtable going forward, as we get everything pretty much calibrated here in studio, which we've done here this weekend. And we look forward to having you back with us next Saturday for the roundtable. And until then, have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Take care.